Alright everybody, welcome back to another Xvault gaming video. Xvault here, and yes, today we're going to go over your next dose of the salty batch files, and there's just so much fallout in regards to the latest findings of Blavk Myth Wukong, the power of the Series S, is it responsible, is it not, all that stuff. So a lot of fanboys not having fun with that and not accepting that, so we got some of that to continue into part 2 as well as some other findings. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. Alright, so like I said, what we're going to do is get right to the salt here. And the first one, of course, we're featuring back XL Boomstick, Boom himself, and he continues to make a fool of himself. This guy, man, this guy has plenty of content on his own as well. Where will I have the time? I don't know, between him, Cold Eastwood, and the rest of the circus. But anywho, as you can see here, those, and we're talking about PlayStation 5 numbers, by the way, for context, those are impressive numbers with a hand clap emoji because he's just so impressed. It takes so much to impress Mr. Boomstick himself here. Unfortunately for PlayStation, it won't remove the massive 400 million loss from Concord, the billions of wasted development in PSVR 2, and the terrible investment in Bungie for the whopping $3.6 billion. So yes, Sony is hurting so bad that they bought a ton of shares in regards to Katakawa just recently. So, you know, but they're hurting so bad. You heard it from Boom here himself, first of all. So in regards to this, as you can see from Paul Tassi, which I'm sure this hurt him deep down inside to even report on this because he doesn't like to when it comes to positive PlayStation news versus Xbox news. New estimates have PS5 beating Xbox over 5-1 in sales for November via Forbes, right? Who he writes for. That's massive, all right? Before we get to Boom here again, that is massive. Quite a massive separation in regards to the sales there, right? Obviously, Nintendo Switch easing up on the gas pedal because they're going into the Switch 2 era, or whatever it ends up being calling itself sooner than later. But again, that's huge. So way for Boom to downplay it. Like, all right, Concord, which we don't have official confirmation of what was lost on Concord. I'm sure it was a lot. We don't have that official confirmation that it was a $400 million budget, even if it was. Again, they just recently they didn't sit there and buy shares in Katakawa. Just a recent example, just for fun. Just because, you know what, guys, we're going to be hitting a red line soon in between the Sony picture stuff, not doing well in regards to, these mistakes that have been happening, and Concord was a mistake, and we've been over that multiple times and why. But then again, now we're using PSVR 2, which, yes, it hasn't sold like hotcakes, but dang, is that such a good piece of accessory? Is that not a great VR system? Absolutely. This thing is really, really fantastic, but it's a higher price point, and they've shifted that down in a lot of sales. People are starting to understand there's a ton of games and content for the PSVR 2. Quite an investment if you do have a PlayStation 5. So definitely do check that out, by the way. And then, of course, the fiasco with Bungie, them kind of falling apart within themselves structurally, but this ends up working out for Sony so they can have that creative control, because if you remember, they did not have creative control or too much control in regards to what Bungie was doing as long as they were manning the ship appropriately. That ended up not being the case, so now the control's coming back to Sony, or if not already over there, and we're seeing the reciprocation of that as we speak. So in time, you're going to see a lot of things hopefully course corrected via under the management of Sony there, as they do with most of their first party games, right? But again, He just likes to downplay it. You see how dumb it is? Hey, these guys mop the floor with everybody right now, and including Xbox, who's not even a competitor at this point, because everything is an Xbox. It's okay that way, but good job, Sony. But You see how ridiculous this is, but I had to kind of touch base at all the things he's trying to point a finger at, but doesn't point the finger at how Game Pass subs haven't increased, is, not pointing a finger at how bad Redfall did, how bad the Game of the Generation actually wasn't Game of the Generation, didn't win a single award, wasn't critically acclaimed, all this stuff. But again, he wants to point fingers at those being successful or more successful than his platform, which is the direct competing platform, PlayStation. Let's move on from this because I can nitpick this post all day long. Going on to the next one before we head over to the Blavk Myth Wukong saga here. Recently in CES, it was announced basically that LG is now going to have the Game Pass app, so you can, of course, cloud stream and what have you via their TVs. And which TVs, I don't have any clarification on that personally at this time of recording. I didn't have time to check into that, so check into that to see if your model is available for that. But as you can see below that, Tom Warren, the Xbox app, Xbox Cloud Gaming, is coming to LG TVs with the hand praying emoji, because this is what every gamer and Xbox gamer has been dreaming of, have been praying to. Please, please allow my TV, especially the LGs, to go ahead and cloud stream the games from Xbox Game Pass. That's what we were praying for. Not an actual competing console. The gamers and Xbox fans weren't praying for that. They weren't praying and hoping that they got actually exclusive games to their ecosystem that wasn't being shared by the competition. No, they were praying and hoping and wishing that, of course, cloud gaming was coming to their LG TVs. Thank you, Tom Warren, for clearing that up. Praise be to you. Now, just had to pull out that nonsense. Let's get back over to the Blavk Myth Wukong saga. These guys are not doing well. So as you can see here, Blavk Myth Wukong devs are official posting sites, celebrating, doing all this stuff here. You can read that, hit pause if you need to. But in regards to that, the response here from Maury's lie detector test itself, been missing those. Why are you guys lying? Just say you signed an NDA with Sony, and that's what keeping you, the Xbox versions, from coming. Had you not, don't that you would have won game. Sorry, this is. Don't know if this is truly English, but bear with us here. Had you not, don't that you would have won Game of the Year, SMH. If that does, or if it does come to Xbox, I will never buy it, nor will I ever support any future titles. I don't like liars. Well, sir, first and foremost, I don't like those that don't use correct pronunciation. And by pronunciation, I actually mean quotations, periods, stuff like that. Right? That's what bothers me the most about this. And part of this, it's like some of your brain cells were not firing off because you were such in a fit of rage that you couldn't even form appropriate sentences together, and let that kind of take over. And then you started to try and be a little more eloquent towards the end, but again, forgot your punctuation and whatnot. But ultimately, what we're taking away from this is they still don't believe it. Because you have people like Kid Smooth, which we'll get to in a video here, Kid Smooth, Colt, and many others stating that this was a lie, that yeah, it was an NDA, that Sony money had at this, right? And I know some of you in the last video stated why would Sony money have this? Again, I'm going to say this again. If Sony got this as a money hat, a timed exclusive, whatever you want to call it, they would tell you. Just like they told you with Rise of the Ronin, just like they told you with Stellar Blade, just like they told you with Final Fantasy Remake and Rebirth, like they tell you with every timed exclusive game, they will come out and tell you this. This is not something they're hiding under because this was a phenomenon. Put off and take off your tinfoil hat for 2 minutes here and understand that yes, it might be a little bit of a learning experience and a learning curve for the devs of Blavk Myth Wukong to go ahead and appropriately optimize for the Series S because it is a bottlenecked system. Simple as that. And the RAM, I'm sorry, some of you don't agree, but it's there. The RAM is part of the issue. And yes, again, we can fall back onto the fact that they need some more time to understand. I mean, the game across all systems did need to be optimized or baked a little bit more for sure, but it still ran really well. And the beefier PC rig you had, it ran well on the PS5 base model. It runs very well on the PS5 Pro model. There's no issues there. Is it running on the PS4? Pro? No. Is it running on the Xbox Series S? Well, it's not even there, so we don't know. But odds are it's not going to run that well, and they don't want to sit there and tarnish their hard work and putting on a system that it's not capable of running because of the parity clause. But yes, it's that secret, elusive NDA that's going on, for sure. But let's keep going, because it doesn't end there, guys. Same thing here, but we got a response from an LJ here. I chose not to vote because I can't support the silence and deceit surrounding the Xbox version. Everyone knows Sony secured timed exclusivity, yet you all insisted on claiming it was due to technical issues, preventing its release on Xbox. That's why you didn't earn my vote. Again, where are they hearing this from? Aside from the weird fan base over there, right? They listen to those with a higher content channel. It has a following that's exponential, right? If they're saying it, if you have anybody up there with a platform with a pretty dang large following, you're going to get those fans of yours to listen to your nonsense, and that's exactly where this comes from. It's complete and utter nonsense. They would come out and say it. There is no NDA. There's no secret exclusive deal, guys. It comes down to the two things I mentioned. Optimization, familiarity with the system. There may be newer devs trying to figure that out. The RAM is an issue. There's a multitude of things that is the issue. Being a time deal or an exclusive NDA under the hood type of deal is not. Move on, understand it, and stop being rude to these devs that are putting out a fantastic game. But again, continue to not buy games, and we'll see what continues to happen with that Xbox ecosystem, because I promise you, you better hope the PlayStation fan base and any other fan base outside of Xbox is buying those games, because if not, your precious Game Pass is going away as well eventually if those sub numbers aren't going up. So, keep on that track, guys. But let's continue here. We have another piece here. What I like to see here is the fact that Morning Destin ones, all this stuff, again, you can hit a pause on there, read that, of course. But from Team Marsh here, you guys are a bunch of liars. How much did Sony pay you to keep it off of Xbox with the crying, laughing emoji? Now, this isn't something that's recent. Sorry, not recent, but quite some time ago. As you can see from the bottom there, that was from December, end of December. So just a week ago or so. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? So you just continue to pile on, and the comments just go on and on and on about how they're just, every post that these guys are doing, that they're just trying to bottleneck them in the fact that you guys made this deal, didn't you? Out with it. Just mention something like that. They, as we did in the last video, we had the translation there and what they stated and why it was difficult to try and make that work for the Series S in particular. Not the Series X, the Series S. If the Series S wasn't there, guys, guess what? More than likely you would have got that on the Series X, if not at the same time that PlayStation did. Can you not put those pieces together and formulate a conclusion of your own, instead of being a sheep and following what Colt, Brisket, anybody else, Boomstick, Kid Smooth? Make your own conclusions. You have the evidence in front of you. This isn't some sort of deep state conspiracy theory. You understand? And then we go on to D-Batch here, of course, right? Xbox, guys, can we just admit the parity clause sucks on Xbox? There should be exceptions. Blavk Myth can run right now on Xbox Series X, so why not just release it and work on Series S release? Why do you guys not call on Xbox to do this? Let your voices be heard, say something. And he's right. This is coming from a mainstay Xbox guy before he's mostly doing PC and understanding that PlayStation is a great ecosystem as well. But listen to the guy. He wants what's best for Xbox. He likes the Xbox brand. As a matter of fact, I want the competition too. I'm not opposed to having different platforms. I have a PC. I have a Switch. I have a PlayStation. I don't have an Xbox because there's no reason to have an Xbox at this point. Give us a reason. Have the competition, because I promise you, as a consumer, if we all have that outright competition, we win in the end. We do. But on the response here from the gaming granddad here, I still think it's bullcrap. It was money-handed, and it's Sony, along with Blavk Myth Game, are covering up their shady practices. When Xbox Studio are showing huge amounts of goodwill by releasing so many games on PlayStation 5, I've seen so many videos of the game running on less than 2 GB RAM. Again, it's not only the RAM itself. Get the information out of there, actually do your research, and the research isn't you going to Colts videos and Kid Smooths and Boomsticks and all them, right? That's not your research. These guys don't want what's best for you as a gamer, as a consumer. They don't. They sit here and look at my stuff. They laugh. They hate that I tell the truth. They hate that I'm so outright and forthcoming with their bullcrap and nonsense, as they know it's true. They have no way to refute it. They sit there and live in their delusional world because they want to grift. They want that income. They want your views. If they sat there and told the truth, they're not going to get your views. You're not going to like it as an Xbox fanboy that's in your delusional world. You're not going to like them telling you the truth, much like me telling you the truth if you're tuning in. That's not something you want to hear, but that's the truth. There is no deal. There's no deal. Move on. Stop following these guys like sheep. Make your own conclusions. You can listen to something and then still formulate your own conclusion. Until they give you hard evidence one way or the other, not just conspiracy theory bullcrap, make your own conclusion. You're going to be a much happier person in life, I promise you that. As we continue here though, Insider Gaming, Blavk Myth Wukong, delay caused by Series S issues, CEO says, like reciprocating that. And then Tadius or Squarek, however you say that, you're lying beaches. So is he calling Insider Gaming that they're lying beaches, or is he calling the devs? I don't know. I think they're aiming towards Insider Gaming. Yes, they're lying too. Again, it's all a big old pot of conspiracy theories, deep state stuff for the gaming industry, and that's what's going on because Blavk Myth Wukong is what's making PlayStation so successful alone. It's not, the other first-party games and timed exclusives from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Stellar Blade and Astrobots and Spider-Man 2 and Returnal, like all this stuff, right? That's not why they're doing great. It's because of Blavk Myth Wukong. So yes, they're lying. It's a deep state cover-up. You're 100% right. Give me a break, man. So we're not done. We're not done. As we continue here, we have someone obscure fair here, tagging Phil Spencer and Satya themselves. With the allegations of Game Science stating Series S is to blame, we know this to be false. They're this QAnon group, right? Like, what's going on here? We know this to be false. Xbox has proved to work with devs such as Larian, etc. to help games come to the system. Yes. And who knows if they're not trying to help there too. They can't keep bending backwards, right? You continue to let more and more games not exist with that parity clause. That means they have to make a big decision and drop that parity clause. That's why they're not doing it with every turn. And they know if Blavk Myth Wukong's not on Game Pass, you guys aren't going to buy it, because guess what happened? It went to Xbox. I don't know the full sales on that side of thing. I can't find it. Please let me know in the comments down below if you found the sales on the Xbox side of thing for Baldur's Gate 3. I don't know if it did well enough. Maybe they did their analytics and they knew it would do well enough to drop the parity clause for that game. But who knows if that would for Blavk Myth Wukong. For this type of game, not everybody's into those Souls-like games, right? As opposed to, Baldur's Gate 3, it's tough, right? It's a difficult game, but it's not action-oriented. You can wait, you can plan things out, you can make that work, right? And it was so hyped and over the top. Not that Blavk Myth Wukong wasn't, but Baldur's Gate 3 was, and that was the first time that they bent. Will they continue to do so? As they continue to do so, it's a snowball effect. That's why. This isn't a conspiracy theory. Do we really want a dev that's lying on the ecosystem? He finishes up, right? They're not lying. And again, you guys are already so upset. So if I'm Phil Spencer right now, the used car salesman Phil Spencer, Matt Booty, whoever, I'm sitting back in my office or wherever the hell I'm at, and I'm looking at this stuff and I go, well, these guys are so pissed off right now. Xbox fan base is so pissed off right now. Why would I do anything to drop the parity clause on this? Why would I drop it on Xbox? You guys either A, don't want it, you're so pissed off at them. I don't know if you guys are going to only want this on Game Pass. May have to revisit this later down the line and put it on Game Pass. There's so many questions to be raised, and you guys all acting like this doesn't help the scenario one bit. Maybe something to think about, right? Just saying. Let's, as we continue to go here, we got one more before our video here. JB not having it as well. As if the game director would openly admit to an under-the-table deal with Sony to keep the game off Xbox for an undisclosed period. Instead, he goes for the easy scapegoat, blaming the Series S. Of course, we're expected to take this face value. This guy looks like he gets all of his information off the back of toilet paper wrapping and reads the instruction manuals on how to wipe your own ass. But, you know, it's just... What I don't understand. There's no under the deal table. Why, out of everything, what is the point of an under the deal table? If anything, there's an under the deal table that they would have solidified a timed exclusivity deal for Elden Ring, for as big as those games are in the community, for those Souls-like fans and everybody else above. That's what I'd be leaning towards, not something that's like, hey, this is a great game, it looks great, the graphics are great, it has a pretty cool story based off the mythology, right? But they don't know, even if they were visiting the studio, saw what they, liked what they saw, this and that and the other. They're not going to make an under the table deal for the first time ever. All of a sudden, Blavk Myth Wukong, right? Right? I mean, it's just, they would just outright say it. There's no reason to lie. That's the point I'm making. There's no under the deal table. There's no under the deal table. I can't say that enough. Okay? It's just not. So let's move on to the video here. The video is Kid Smooth here. And before we talk about that, go ahead and take a look at it.
What's up, everybody? It's the best spot, Kid Smooth. Happy New Year to you guys. And hopefully, your year started off well. So I want to talk about this because this Blavk Myth Wukong director come out on, I think, on like some sort of Chinese social media website to say he's confirming that the Xbox delay is because of the Xbox Series S and its 10 gigabytes of shared memory. Now, honestly, I don't trust, just like people don't want to trust what Xbox says, I don't trust what devs say at all. Because developers themselves can't be trusted. When did you find out that it wasn't coming in to Xbox? So my thing is that, so you're telling me up until June, that's when you found out it wasn't coming to Xbox? Like, I don't buy that. I really don't buy it, and I really don't care. To me, in my opinion, all the accolades this game is getting, all the sales that this game is getting, I think is overrated.
All right, so as you can see, he's, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video or throughout, he's one of the ones spouting the nonsense. He has a very large following on YouTube. He has an even larger following on X, Twitter. And people are going to believe what he says. So he doesn't help the case scenario, right? He's upset. Now he doesn't want to do anything with it. It's not that big of a game, but it is. So everything he says is just comical and clown-like. And again, the followers will sit there and with that sheep mentality, latch onto it and go, you know what? He's right. Deep state conspiracy, and there was a deal under the table, and the game's not that great after all. We don't want it. We don't want it anymore, right? It's just, you see how absurd this is? The whole circus, the whole crew, the whole circle. It's just absurd, and you hate to see it. And again, how many times do I have to be on here? And these other guys, these guys that don't like my channel and stuff, they'll sit there and clip other stuff, but they never clip me saying this. Play what you want, where you want, how you want. That's not a problem. I won't ever tell you not to do so. What I am here to tell you is the truth, and that's what I continue to do. Clip that. I dare you to clip that, because I don't care. Play on Xbox, play on Nintendo, play on PC. Don't play on PlayStation. Whatever the case is, that's fine. That's your prerogative. I'm just here telling you the truth. Like today, this is all nonsense. This is what I'm here for. And if somebody's going to lie and not tell you the truth, that's what I'm here for. This is the content I'm doing. All these guys are salty. You can say they're not salty. This has nothing to do with salt. Every segment I do is salt. And I'm here calling out the nonsense. Right? So that being said, we'll wrap up the video here. I hope you enjoyed. If you made it through the entirety of the video, thank you so much. Your support helps out so much. You watching the entire video helps out so much, and the algorithm. If you haven't already, definitely leave a like, comment down below. Both those things are great and help out the algorithm. Plus, I do love to hear from you. I do read as much as I can and try to get through all the comments and at least hit a like on those or a heart, if not respond if I can. So thank you so much. If you haven't already, definitely consider subscribing as well. We are certainly on our way to that 3,000 subs goal. Thank you so much, guys. You guys are fantastic and amazing. Thanks for sticking around and enjoying the content. So I really do appreciate that. That being said, just remember to enjoy the rest of your day. And as always, to remember, don't be a salty batch. And we'll see y'all next time on the next Xvault gaming video. And until then, take care.